The power behind Bedknobs and Broomsticks may surprise you. Welcome to Spellbound Studio, everybody. My name is Tracy, and today we're talking about Bedknobs and Broomsticks. What looks like a whimsical Disney fantasy, flying beds, talking animals, and a witch in training, it's actually something deeper. It's a story about a woman finding power in study, compassion, and courage during one of Britain's darkest hours. Before we get to it, please make sure to become a star in the Spellbound constellation by liking, subscribing, commenting, or sharing this video. Now, sit back, relax, and let's open the door to a world where magic, music, and a little bit of mischief collide. Welcome to Bedknobs and Broomsticks. Eglantine Price is not the mythic, all-knowing witch who drifts into children's lives fully formed. She's the opposite. She's fallible, studious, and self-made. Her power is learned, improvised, and it's ultimately put to use for the common good. Bedknobs and Broomsticks was made in 1971, which places that quietly radical figure at the center of a wartime fable, recasting witchcraft as practical resilience rather than menace and offering a distinctly post-war feminist take on magical womanhood. So before we go any further, I want to ask you a question. What other movie witches do you think carry Eglantine's spirit? The kind of witch who uses magic to teach, protect, and empower instead of harm. Right against Mary Poppins' mythic perfection and the suburban containment of Bewitched, Eglantine becomes the 1970s update of the magical governess. The feminist, post-war Mary Poppins who makes her own broom fly instead of arriving with one preordained. The film's choice to weaponize domestic experimental magic echoes real wartime folklore and later Wiccan narratives, especially Gerald Gardner's accounts of 1940 rituals, sometimes called the Operation Cone of Power. Covens were said to have performed magic to protect Britain from Nazi invasion. In Bedknobs and Broomsticks, that legend finds its most charming expression. A witch who defends her country not with fire and fury, but with knowledge, improvisation, and heart. For centuries, witches in folklore and early media were most often depicted not as benevolent mentors, but as dangerous figures preying on children. In European witch trial literature, midwives and women accused of witchcraft were charged with murdering or sacrificing unbaptized infants, abducting newborns from cradles, or concocting poisons and ointments from their bodies. Tales of the Striga or Lamia trace back to antiquity, night-flying female demons that attacked children and drank their blood or devoured them whole. Fairy tale versions reinforce the idea. Witches lured children into the dark forest, or a doomed house like Baba Yaga or the witch in Hansel and Gretel, which of course they were eaten, sold, transformed, or just lost. By the mid-20th century, this child-harming witch trope still held strong in horror and cautionary tales. The witch remained framed as a threat to the innocent. Then, here comes Bedknobs and Broomsticks, with the central figure, Eglantine Price. She is a witch who enters children's lives not to harm them, but to teach, protect, and collaborate. That inversion, the witch as an ally rather than predator, marks a cultural turning point. It signaled a broader shift in how magical women are portrayed, from embodiments of fear to agents of empowerment. In this light, Eglantine's transformation from reluctant guardian to active protector becomes meaningful, not just within the film, but within a larger historical trajectory of the witch myth. The young girl no longer needs to run from the witch, but rather learns from her. That reframing is central to how we understand the radical potential of this film and its character. As the skies darkened over Britain and invasion loomed in the summer of 1940, an unusual form of resistance quietly emerged. According to Gerald Gardner, founder of modern Wicca, and a small group of occult-practicing women and men gathered in the South English woodland of the New Forest Coven to perform a collective ritual designed to protect their homeland. The event, later called Operation Cone of Power, took place on August 1, 1940, and aimed to raise a metaphysical cone of power directed at the enemy's leadership with the chant, "You cannot cross the sea. You cannot cross the sea." In practical terms, there's no definitive historical proof that the ritual had any measurable military effect, but the symbolic value is immense. It reframes witchcraft not as a hidden malevolence, but as a communal defiance, a spiritual labor and defense of the innocent. By casting magic as an act of national guardianship rather than private vengeance, this wartime folklore foreshadows the character of Eglantine Price in Bedknobs and Broomsticks. She uses spells not for spite, but she uses them for shielding. She reinforces the idea of witchcraft as a force for care, and for the home front, and for children. The invocation of the Cone of Power narrative in connection with the film's story deepens the cultural resonance. The witch in the woods becomes the witch on the battlefield. The broomstick becomes a flight path of defense, and the children she protects are emblematic of a nation worth saving. In this way, the film taps into an undercurrent of real historical myth. Women who wielded unconventional power during wartime, and who reframed magic as a moral responsibility. The ritual becomes more than folklore. It becomes a mirror through which Eglantine's own transformation can be read. Magician, guardian, and educator. One of the most quietly radical choices in Bedknobs and Broomsticks is how quickly trust forms between Eglantine and the children. When they discover her secret, the moment carries no fear or suspicion. This goes against centuries of folklore which would condition us to expect that children would be afraid of a witch. There's no screaming, there's no flight from Eglantine's house, there's just curiosity and wonder. In turn, Eglantine responds not with defensiveness or denial, but with generosity. Within minutes, she entrusts the children with her information. She lets Paul be in charge of the enchanted traveling spell. This is a gesture that redefines what magical power looks like in a mid-century fantasy. Instead of hoarding her knowledge, Eglantine shares it. She does not isolate herself. She invites the children into her world, and this exchange is symbolic of the changing relationship between women and authority in the early 1970s. Power is no longer secret, subversive, or selfish. It's communal. Her witchcraft functions not as a weapon or a temptation, but as a tool for collective safety, education, and adventure. The trip to the island of Nabumbu reinforces that trust. Eglantine does not use the bedknob to escape the children or keep them contained. Instead, she trusts a child to control the travel. They go together across oceans, into basements, and into imagination itself. Within a story set against the fear of invasion and the displacement of war, the act of magical travel becomes more than whimsy, it's liberation. The children who were evacuated from London find in Eglantine not just shelter, but permission to dream again. And in this light, Bedknobs and Broomsticks transforms the witch's cottage from a site of danger into a sanctuary. The hearth, which was once feared for its cauldron, now becomes the home base of invention and hope. Eglantine's bond with the children marks a new archetype of the witch, one who teaches, empowers, and protects, and whose magic restores the child's sense of wonder rather than consuming it. The most powerful magic in Bedknobs and Broomsticks does not come from Eglantine's broomstick or even her spellbook. It comes from connection. When she can't complete the crucial incantation to bring armor and weapons to life, it's Paul, the youngest child, who unknowingly holds the missing piece. His simple understanding of the words, the one thing that adults often dismiss as childish, becomes the key to unlocking her most potent spell. That moment reframes witchcraft entirely. It's not about control, secrecy, or fear. It's about learning, trust, and collaboration. The woman once mocked for her mail-order magic ends up defending her homeland through a spell completed by a child's memory. And together, they embody the film's quiet thesis: real power is shared power. Eglantine does not save the day alone. She channels the combined strength of everything she's learned and everything she's taught. In a time of uncertainty and war, her magic becomes a metaphor for resilience. The idea that knowledge, imagination, and unity can stand against even the darkest forces. By the film's end, witchcraft has been transformed from a feared secret into a collective act of protection and love. The witch no longer hides from the world. She defends it. And in the shared spark between Eglantine and Paul, teacher and child, woman and future, Bedknobs and Broomsticks cast its most truest spell. The belief that wonder, compassion, and courage can rewrite the story of what it means to be powerful. So now we come back to the question from earlier. What other movie witches do you think carry Eglantine's spirit? The kind who use magic to teach, protect, and empower instead of harm? Let me know in the comments. Thank you everybody for joining me today. Thank you for supporting Spellbound Studio by watching this video. If you would like to further support Spellbound Studio, you can check the links in the description below. Until next time, stay spellbound.